All right, guys, so lesson 5 is all about solving two-step inequalities, which is really similar to what we did with two-step equations last unit. So just like two-step equations, the first thing you're going to do is try and get rid of those constants. So that was a vocabulary word we learned this year. Constants are numbers. They could be 2, -10, 100, right? Our first goal is to get rid of that constant. Our second goal is to cancel out or get rid of the coefficient, right? A coefficient is working with a variable. So we talked about coworkers, right? There's always going to be a variable involved in a coefficient. Maybe 30x. And then we need to remember from our previous lesson that we reverse that inequality sign if you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by that negative number. So for number 1, when I go in, all right, it says -2x plus 1 is less than or equal to 7. I'm going to go ahead and draw on those railroad tracks to stay nice and organized. Okay, so my goal is to get x by itself. To do that, I'm going to get rid of the constant of +1. The opposite of +1 is going to be -1, so I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides. I now have -2x is less than or equal to 6. I want to get x by itself. To do that, I need to divide both sides by a -2. Now remember, since we're dividing both sides by that -2, I need to flip my sign. So instead of less than or equal to, it's going to be greater than or equal to. I get x is greater than or equal to -3. When I go in and graph that, I'm going to say that this is -3, -2, -1. All right, my circle is going to be shaded going to the right. We'll come back to the check stuff here later. For number 2, let's go ahead and do the same thing. My goal is to get x by itself. I need to draw on those tracks, stay nice and organized. I'm going to add 2 to both sides because that is my constant. I now have 5x is greater than or equal to -10. To get x by itself now, I need to divide both sides by 5, and I'll get x is greater than or equal to -2. If this is 0, if this is -1, if this is -2, I have 1 and 2 as well. My circle will be closed, going to the right. Number 3, a little bit trickier. I'm going to draw on those railroad tracks. The opposite of +7, since we're trying to get x by itself, is -7. I get x over -4 is less than or equal to -2. We've learned that whenever we see this fraction bar in math, that means divide. The opposite of divide is multiply. So if I multiply this side by -4, I need to multiply my other side by -4. These 4's are going to cancel out, and I'm left with x is greater than or equal to +8. So if this is 8, 7, and 6, we'll have 9 and 10 over here. My circle is closed, going to the right. Number 4. All right, my goal is to get x by itself, so we're going to draw on those railroad tracks, put a star by x. I'm going to start by adding that 2 to both sides. When I do that, I get 3/4 x is less than or equal to 3. We've been talking a lot about these fractions. Technically, this is multiplication. The opposite of multiply is to divide. So if I divide one side by 3/4, I need to divide the other side by 3/4. So in a calculator, you can type 3 divided by 3/4, or you can do this by hand by doing keep, change, flip. So we're going to keep that 3 the same. We'll change that division sign to multiplication, and we'll flip 3/4 to 4 over 3. We learned about this earlier this year, right? The reciprocal of keep, change, flips, we're flipping that fraction. These 3's would cancel, and I'm just going to get x is less than or equal to 4. So let's go in and graph it. Here's 4, 5, and 6. I'll have 2 and 3 to the left of 4. My circle is going to be closed, going to the left. All right, next one, number 5. Number 5, same game plan. We draw on our railroad tracks, put a star by x. I'm going to start by adding 4 to both sides. I'll get 3x is less than 27. After that, I'll divide both sides by 3, and I'll get x is less than 9. So if I got 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, my circle is open at 9 and going to the left. All right, number 6, I'm going to start by subtracting 8 on both sides. When I do that, I get negative 6x is greater than 48. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 6. When I do that, I'll get x, since I'm dividing by that negative, I need to flip my sign, is less than negative 8. So a lot of students on this kind of get their number lines flipped when we talk about numbers that are negative. All right, if it helps you, show yourself where 0 would be in comparison to negative 8. 0 would be somewhere up here, right? If this number line continues this way. So if this is 0, I'm going to say, well, this is negative 7, negative 6, negative 5, negative 4, so on and so forth. This would be negative 9, negative 10. My circle is going to be open, going to the left. All right, so this is lesson 5. Go to do your lesson 5 homework.